India is at a defining moment in its military history. With the commissioning of INS Tamal, a Talwar class stealth frigate built in Russia, the Indian Navy has officially received its final imported warship. From now on, every major Indian warship will be indigenously designed, developed, and built. This is not just a strategic leap, it's a civilizational one. This shift marks India's transition from a dependent buyer to a confident builder. And this transformation is not happening in isolation. It resonates deeply with our ancient past, especially with the legendary legacy of Rajendra Chola, the first Indian ruler who built a powerful navy, conquered foreign territories across the ocean, and carried the dharmic flame far into Southeast Asia. Let's go back 1,000 years. At a time when Europe was reeling in its medieval darkness, the Chola Empire stood tall, rich in trade, culture, and military strength. Under Rajendra Chola I, the empire reached its zenith. Rajendra did not merely expand the empire's boundaries, he expanded Bharat's maritime imagination. Ruling from 1014 to 1044 AD, Rajendra Chola the Great launched one of the world's earliest and most successful overseas military campaigns. His fleets did not just patrol India's coastline, they dominated the Indian Ocean. From Sri Lanka to Sumatra, from Maldives to the Malacca Straits, the Chola Navy asserted Hindu influence with unmatched force and vision. Rajendra Chola's sea expeditions were not acts of aggression, they were a dharmic assertion. His targets included the Buddhist Srivijaya Empire in present day Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia with precision and power. He struck at Kadaram, Pegu, and the ports of Sumatra, shaking the foundations of Southeast Asia. The question is, why did he do this? Not for glory alone, but to secure trade routes, protect cultural ties, and ensure the Tamil and Hindu values prospered in lands that had long standing connections with India. This was not colonization, it was a renaissance. Rajendra's expeditions were about taking the spirit of Bharat to global shores. Compare this to today. While India commissioned INS Tamal in Kaliningrad, a warship built in Russia, it also announces a bold new doctrine. Never again will Indian defense rely on foreign shipyards. From now on, Indian warships will be built by Indian hands. This echoes the legacy of Rajendra Chola, who 1,000 years ago created India's first blue water navy. Now, let's talk about Rajendra's empire. It was not just big, it was a well administered, deeply spiritual, and commercially advanced. His capital, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, was a marvel of urban planning, temple architecture, and administrative sophistication. Temples were not just spiritual centers, they were hubs of economic and social life. From Angkor Wat in Cambodia to Tamil inscriptions found in Indonesia, the Chola influence remains embedded in the cultural DNA of Southeast Asia. The Tamil merchant guilds, Ainutruvar, Manigramam, Ayyavole were global players in trade and diplomacy. They were the Ambanis and Tatas of their time, only more dharmic. What's more, Rajendra's empire was not built on empty rhetoric. It stood for Sanatan Dharma, for temples, for traditions, for pride in our identity. His reign saw the promotion of Nataraja worship, a form of Shiva that symbolizes cosmic balance, the very philosophy India still holds dear. And as India commissions its final foreign built ship, this return to self reliance is more than strategic, it is symbolic. We are reawakening a spirit that was alive during the Chola era. Now, let's shift to the current picture. INS Tamal, built at Russia's Yanta shipyard, is equipped with modern stealth sensors, and armament. It's a fine warship, but its uniqueness lies not in its weapons, but in its timing. It's the last of its kind. Because from now on, India is determined to build its own fleet, just like Rajendra did 1,000 years ago. In fact, the Indian Navy is already a shining example of Make in India. Over 90% of our warships are built at home by GRSC, Mazagan Dock Shipbuilders, Cochin Shipyard, and others. India is now exporting patrol vessels to the Indian Ocean region. We are no longer just a market, we are becoming a maritime leader. And the symbolism could not be clearer. Just as Rajendra I projected Indian influence through maritime might, modern India is once again asserting its presence across the Indo-Pacific. Be it partnerships with ASEAN, defense pacts with Japan and Australia, or joint naval exercises like Milan and Malabar, India is sailing into the future with confidence. Even spiritually, we are seeing echoes of the Cholas' legacy. The consecration of grand temples like Ram Mandir and the revival of Kashi Vishwanath and the Ganga Vilas river cruise are not isolated developments. They represent a civilizational revival. They signal that India's spiritual and cultural soft power is ready to sail again. So, where does this leave us? At a juncture where India must learn from its past to secure its future. Rajendra Chola's vision was bold, unapologetic, and dharmic. He believed in expanding India's influence not by appeasement, but by power tempered with purpose. That's the template we need. Whether it's defending our borders, protecting Indian territories in the Indian Ocean, or countering China's string of pearls strategy, we need a maritime doctrine inspired by Chola's strategy, not Western think tanks. And that doctrine begins now. INS Tamal is the last imported warship, and that's a good thing because India is now writing its own destiny on the high seas, just as Rajendra Chola once did. As our ancestors once ruled the eastern oceans, modern Bharat is ready to reclaim its seat at the maritime high table, not as a follower, but as a civilizational leader. So, let us remember, we are not a nation learning to build ships. We are a civilization relearning how to command oceans. The seas remember Rajendra, and now they will remember India again.